It's always been a running gag for the longest time now to make fun of people who truly think that games like Dance Dance Revolution, Stepmania, Guitar Hero, etc. are based off of memorization that a human can't possibly read that fast. As goofy it can be sometimes to comment on your friend's scores saying stuff like, "I bet you memorized the notes," there were people back in the old school DDR days who did this as a skill here and there. Who could forget Yasu's AAA on Max 300 Stealth back when AAAing that song in general was considered a phenomenal feat? Or Blue Mystic AAAing some of the other songs in the Max series on Stealth, The Legend of Max and Max Unlimited. Or some more recent players, Chris Chike with his Stealth scores he'll occasionally post from time to time. For those of you who aren't necessarily familiar with this type of playstyle in DDR, there is a mod called Stealth that allows the player to play the song without any notes shown on the screen, thus forcing the player to use their own memory to complete the song. If you're familiar with Guitar Hero or Rock Band's performance mode, Stealth is exactly that. While there were some insane Stealth videos back in the day, it slowly started to fade away or just not as active anymore, as there really wasn't much more to do with Stealth other than that. At least, that's what people thought. However, under the radar, there was another hidden gem in the DDR archives that people seem to not be quite aware of. In the last couple years, a player by the name of Piguy314159 began to get some recognition after uploading a barrage of Stealth scores that absolutely wowed the DDR community. While he was consistently uploading tons of AAA scores on Stealth on various songs, he also put his own twist on it here and there, which came off as very unique, yet intrigued me in every way and pushed the Stealth mod to its absolute limit. Today, we're going to be looking at what are my top 10 achievements from DDR Stealth Mathematician Savant, Piguy314159. If you played Supernova, you'll know that this file is an absolute mess, and AAAing it alone is already an accomplishment on its own, let alone doing it on Stealth. The song starts off relatively straightforward with some tricky time signature changes here and there, but nothing too crazy. Right after the 200 note mark though is when things start to get a little interesting. You notice how instead of the drill starting out on a 4th note, they start on a 16th. After that, the rest of the entire song is 16th notes, but played as if they were the same BPM as a 4th note, which makes this a very painful AAA to obtain on Stealth due to the very obscure rhythmic changes in the song. Lastly, there isn't a ton of variation with this file, so memorizing the notes alone can become tedious to accomplish as well. Paranoia Survivor 290. If you weren't head over heels for crossover songs, this song's ending was a living hell for you back in the extreme days. However, Piguy manages to take the extra step and tackles this ruthless DDR extreme classic. In terms of patterns, this song actually isn't insanely hard to memorize despite its hard difficulty. The patterns are relatively straightforward, consistent and easy to follow BPM with a few minor slowdown sections, but the real deal is managing to keep your focus for those crossovers at the end, and assuring you're still AAAing while practically flailing your body around. Overall, this definitely serves as one of his best Stealth accomplishments, and definitely deserves a top 10 spot on this list.
Hopefully now I can call myself decent at this game.
This one struck me as one of the more unique older songs in the Paranoia series. Instead of slowdowns, there's these abrupt, tricky stops, the patterns are pretty hard at some points, and to top it all off, there's an absolutely unforgiving ending. Piguy himself said that this song is extremely hard to time, and to be honest, I don't blame him. It's definitely not an easy song to follow. Not necessarily BPM wise, but there's just something about the song that just makes it a bit harder to follow in terms of accuracy. And when you don't have the notes there, sometimes your best bet is to follow the receptors to stay on beat. The ending is the most fascinating part of this AAA in my opinion. The crossovers on this are extremely awkward, and I can definitely see why he was so ecstatic when he finally nailed this as his 200th Stealth AAA. Some of you are probably wondering why this is higher up on the list than the previous Paranoid AAAs I listed earlier. While those songs might be harder to some in terms of AAAing or even playing in general, this song will leave you an absolute nervous wreck playing this on Stealth, let alone managing to not slip up on the plethora of obstacles that await you on this song. abrupt, long slowdown sections that then speed up to BPMs at will. There's a part in the song where you're holding the down arrow and using your other foot to somehow hit the left and up eighth notes. And lastly, there's several slowdowns that you must time perfectly if you want to even have a chance at AAAing this, which then leads right into another slowdown that you have to control yourself to not rush after AAAing the rest of the song. This song may not be fast, but it provides many more elements that make it that much more impressive to have it up at the number 7 spot. I wasn't quite sure where to put this on the list at first, but after watching it again, I just felt like it belongs here. This file is a lot more exhausting than it seems, physically and mentally, to play on stealth. Lots of weird rhythms, the paranoia slowdown is incredibly off-putting to play on stealth after playing the entire file at 300 BPM, and lastly, the rush isn't just hard to play, but I can't help but just imagine how stressful this must have been to do with an ending like Max Periods. Just the overwhelming 600 BPM rush after finally being on the AAA run you want just makes this one of his most iconic scores to date, and his reaction makes it all the better.
Yes! Fucking yes! You fucking...
I saw this in my feed and almost couldn't believe it, but couldn't help but check it out right away. Piguy manages to not just find access to a DDR-A machine for his first time, but also meets up with the DDR legend himself, Chris Chaik. There's footage that Piguy and Chris uploaded of other stealth scores they have gotten, but this one had me laughing while being in awe the entire time. If you aren't quite aware of why Bag is such an infamous file, it is one of the slowest songs in the entire series, with its BPM intentionally set at 65. Some of the bursts are also extremely tricky to time as well, and the file all around is just awkward. While the BPM is already absurdly slow at 65, Piguy slaps on a 0.25 speed modifier to make the speed just 16 BPM. As soon as the screen opens, you're practically seeing the notes already. To top it all off, he adds on the break modifier, which makes it an outright clutter to read as if it wasn't already. It's obvious he has the step chart memorized, but the fact that he was able to focus on the chart and was able to FC it in front of DDR's most iconic player makes this extremely impressive in my book, and I highly suggest you check out the other scores he's gotten with Chris Chaik as well. It's one thing to FC or AAA an entire DDR game, but to FC it in such large segments on stealth makes it all the better. Piguy sets out on a journey after having most of the Extreme series of songs memorized to go ahead and try and see if he can FC the entire game before starting school again. He had uploaded videos prior to these segments of him FCing multiple songs in a row, so it seemed like it was just a matter of time before he really put himself to the test to finish off the rest of the game. There's 111 songs and he did this in 10 segments, the last one being significantly shorter, so he definitely didn't make this an easy task to accomplish. It just boggles my mind storing all of these charts so vividly and being able to do them in such large chunks. He definitely doesn't make the last segment easy on himself as well, having the Legend of Max, Paranoia Survivor 290 Challenge, and Dance Dance Revolution Challenge as his last set of songs to complete the 111 song stealth gauntlet he set himself out to accomplish.
Shitty score, I don't care. After 7 fucking years, I finally did it! That is all 111 songs in this game, stealth FC'd!
Fast forward a few years later, Piguy decided to try something different to top off his extreme grind. To speedrun the entire game on stealth as fast as possible by FCing all the songs in just over 4 hours. There's a few things that make this already amazing feat an even more impressive one. He ordered all 111 songs in terms of easiest to memorize to hardest to memorize. Out of these 111 songs, he only had to replay 14 of them, meaning he FC'd 95 of them all on his first try. The only ones he really had to play a decent bit were Max Unlimited and Vanity Angel, and the rest he messed up on he pretty much got all on his second try. To top it all off, he even does a classic costume change for that optimal time save in probably the most impressive DDR speedrun out there at the moment. Could you imagine seeing a video titled DDR while reciting pi or DDR while reciting digits of E? Perhaps you could to a certain extent, but I definitely would not have expected it to go the way it did when it happened. These videos still make me laugh to an extent to this day. They're just so amazing and reflect his channel so well, I couldn't help but just find these videos hilariously fun to watch every time. Piguy goes above and beyond by creating the most unique DDR videos I've ever seen. We'll start off with his emotional stealth AAA while reciting digits of E. While the chart isn't anything to go head over heels for, he still manages to keep a AAA while reciting digits of E on essentially every step of the song. At times it even sounds like he's substituting ghost steps by reciting even more digits of E, which is just absolutely genius in my opinion. Lastly, he gets his scores so that way the points at the bottom of the screen add up to the first few digits of E as well. His next one is from around 2 to 3 years prior to the E video, but holds to remain an absolute classic to this day. This is the video that put him on the map in the DDR community and completely shocked everyone who even watched just 2 seconds of it. The video that embodies Piguy314159 himself, an FC of Coleco Cat Rock on stealth, while reciting an absurd amount of digits of pi throughout.
7510 5820974 59230
If you thought that was the only impressive part of this, you've 100% been mistaken, as Piguy does the unthinkable. While reciting hundreds of digits of pi, he manages to specifically obtain 31 greats, FCs a song with 314 steps, and gets the exact number of points he would need to make his point total the first few digits of pi. My favorite part of this personally is how he recites 30 more digits of pi while the results screen is loading. This video will forever go down as one of the most unique DDR accomplishments to this day, and I'd be surprised if anyone could outshine Piguy at his own game. Oh, and for anyone who thinks he was just babbling random numbers or got some of them wrong, he got every single digit right. In fact, he got 302 digits of pi right, to be exact.
5 2 7 1 2 0 1 9 0 9 1 4 5 6 4 8 5 6 6 9 2 3 4 6 0 3 4 8 6 1 0 4 5 4 3 2 6 6 4 8 2 1 3 3 9 3 6 0 7 2 6 0 2 4 9 1 4 1 2 7 3. 314 steps, 31 greats, 314,159 total points.
For all of us who owned a copy of Extreme or any other DDR game that had the classic endless mode, we all tried to get as far as we could. Some tried seeing how high we can get the points up, others tried to see how many songs they could play in a row before being absolutely exhausted. However, who in their right mind would think, I want to be able to play endless mode without the notes being there? For those of you who aren't familiar with endless mode, in DDR Extreme or other DDR games, you are assigned a random song every time and your goal is to simply complete it. The part that becomes tricky is that the farther you get into endless mode, the harsher you are punished for it when you miss. Piguy described the later stages of endless mode as life mode, but goods don't punish you, meaning just a few mere mistakes or a pattern mixed up could fail him instantaneously. Despite Piguy being very confident in his stealth skills, this was not an easy task for him in the slightest. He had to try constantly to get that one run where his memory was sharp, he was physically capable of it, and was able to hold that for 3 entire hours. To read off Piguy's description of his achievement, he states, "This has been my dream for the last 8 years. Even though I FC'd them all in courses in 2014, trying to do them in endless is way more nerve-wracking because they come up in random order, and one mistake on the 80th song can mean 2 hours of your life down the drain. Not to mention it's incredibly dangerous to go for a drink of water if max period hasn't come up yet. And that's not to say I didn't make a whole bunch of mistakes along the way. Just watch my pony abacus go crazy during the last 30 songs. You'll also see me almost fail on easy songs like Love Shine. That's what happens when you grind day in and day out for a 3-hour run. It's done. It's finally done. I'm never doing this again. I did pretty alright in the beginning, but once I got to song 50 or so, my feet literally started to feel weightless, which destroyed my ability to keep a good combo going. One more decent stretch, and I could have gotten this run on my leaderboard, but this will have to do. It's done. It's finally done. I'm never doing this again."
Oh my fucking god!
And that pretty much sums it up. Thank you all so much for watching. I know my channel is centered towards primarily keyboard players, but I thought I would try something different this time around. Thank you so much to Piguy himself for giving me permission to use his videos, and please go all subscribe to him. He still consistently uploads stealth AAAs, plus other things here and there, and frankly I hope he has a lot crazier things planned in the future for everyone. Make sure to follow my Sellout links, plus join my pretty neat Discord, and I will see you guys in whatever I upload next. Bye bye.